Hey everyone, it's Brian with you from TheGameCommon, and today we're starting a brand new series playing some Planet Coaster. It has been quite some time since we have hopped in and played some Planet Coaster, but hopping into Planet Zoo kinda gave me the itch again to play some Planet Coaster. Mostly it just comes down to the fact that I'm just kinda like trying to tide myself over until Planet Zoo comes out, number one, and then number two, I think this was kind of a great opportunity, or this is going to be a great opportunity for us just to kind of build some things, kind of get back some of our swag, because I think back in the day we used to be pretty good at building buildings and making things look really cool, although it's been some time and Planet Coaster just is notorious. There's just a lot of things happening with it, so it's like you really got to remember what you're doing, and there's a lot of little tricks that you can learn and stuff like that just to kind of make it work. So essentially what we have here is we are playing on the city map, and we basically edited the scenario just to make the map a little bit bigger. And I really, well, every other time I've played Planet Coaster, I've always had kind of a theme in mind of, hey, this is what we're gonna build. Like we attempted to build a Westworld park one time. The other time we ended up doing like a recreation of the pier in San Diego. And so this time it's like I didn't really have any idea other than I think we called our park Forest Hills. The Forest Hills Park, and so essentially my whole idea for this was just to basically almost make it like a nature preserve. So I wanted kind of like some rolling hills. You'll notice that we kind of have the cliff area. The only DLC I think I currently have that I bought was the temple one, and so kind of in that cliff area down below we're gonna kind of do like some hidden temple kind of stuff eventually when we get there, but initially the idea is I just wanted to make this as much of a forest as possible. So this first episode is mostly just going to be us adjusting the terrain and making things look pretty and just trying to make it look as good as possible. And then really from there, and adding a whole bunch of trees. And then, next episode, or maybe it's the end of this episode, I don't know, I kind of have to look at the timer after this. We're going to actually start then, building the park itself. And we're going to have a bunch of different areas and stuff like that. So, right here, we are trying to make it look like the lake there is actually a continuation. That is the edge of the park right there. So instead we decided just to kind of cliff it. Some of these trees, like this tree right here, was just part of the game, when we started. So we couldn't really do anything with the tree. So we kind of had to keep it. So I was just trying to like dig underneath it and just make it look good and make it look like an overhang just because I couldn't get rid of it. So yeah, essentially we're trying to do like a nice little waterfall there eventually that's going to kind of dig down into the bottom, and then we're coming over here and just kind of making a big little old lake over here. And we didn't do any smoothing for the most part. This was just, you know, oh yeah, we had to keep adjusting the height here because it was like, oh, that's a little too much water. But really one of the things I just love doing is I love just making like these really huge rivers that just kind of just, you know, kind of are almost a focal piece of our park. And so, like I said, we're just really trying to keep this a nature preserve, where I really wanted this to be something where it's like you walk into the park and you just see trees. You don't necessarily see the rides until you walk into the next ride. So most of our rides, we're probably going to want to do like either underground, like if we're doing roller coasters and stuff like that, we might want to go really deep underground, just because it's like one of those things where it's like, I just don't want you to see necessarily anything. Like the only kind of view I'd really want to see through the park is just being able to potentially see the city in the background and stuff like that. So we're playing around with some of the terrain for whatever reason. I guess because we're on city, I just couldn't do any dirt terrain, which was kind of annoying. I don't think dirt was exclusive to Planet Zoo, right? But it is interesting coming in here, and there's a couple things in Planet Zoo that they didn't add into Planet Coaster, like some of the terrain and stuff like that just doesn't work quite as well in Planet Coaster, even though it's almost the same. But there were a couple things, I'm trying to remember exactly what it was, but it was like, oh yeah, I like this a little bit better in Planet Zoo. It looks a little bit nicer. I think just maybe having the sand and stuff like that and having the dirt, and maybe on different maps they have access to it, but yeah. So that whole underground area, like I said, is eventually going to kind of be like this Temple of Doom kind of thing. That's going to be kind of like they dug out this hidden temple and they discovered the super hidden temple right outside the city, but still very much going to keep it as foresty as possible. And so now we're going to spend like the next like 5 minutes basically just throwing down trees, as many as possible. The biggest issue we have here is there's just no easy way just to like mash trees, you know. I probably could have looked online and see if someone else built something with some trees, but you know, and some of these trees, especially on the hills, you'll notice they're kind of crooked because it's actually lining it with the terrain, which is a nice little feature, mind you, because it keeps everything on the ground and it's not like too high in the air. But it gets a little annoying when all of a sudden you start throwing some trees down and they're matching up on top of another tree, or you know, they're just a little crooked. So at some point, we might go in and fix some of those trees if they get really noticeable. But, I mean, you see, like, right now, it's like, yeah, that's quite a few trees. I mean, this is nothing. This is nothing. We're going to add, like, stupid amounts of trees. Hopefully, my processor is going to be able to handle it. I don't know how the trees, what kind of effect they have on the game compared to, like, I mean, I guess they're assets, so it probably does put stress on your processor. In the past, we've had some issues with having too many resources going on in the game, and so it gets a little laggy. I'm actually wondering if maybe we just kind of keep our park closed or maybe limited, then we won't have people in the park. And I bet that's probably the biggest processor strain. I'm sure people have actually figured this out, but it's been a while since I've actually played Planet Coaster. The funny thing is, actually, if you look in the game right now, oh, I must have been changing music. I was like, what happened? We froze. If you actually look in the game, you'll notice that like my wife stole my avatar. She like adjusted the avatar so it looked like her. I was like, what? But she tends to play this game a little more often than me. Well, she's played it more often. This is honestly one of the first times. I opened it a couple weeks ago, like as soon as the Planet Zoo beta closed. I opened the game, but this is legitly like the first time I've actually played the game since our Westworld series, which was like the year the game came out, which was like 2015, 2016, somewhere in there. So it has been quite some time since I've actually popped in and played Planet Coaster. We'll have to see coaster building, how good it is, but it's one of those things where it's like, it's kind of hard to hop into this game after this much time just because there's so much. Like there's like 10 DLCs right now and they're all like $20 a piece. And it's just like, there's a lot. So I was like, yeah, there's no way I'm going to go and buy all those DLCs. Like, you know, I love supporting developers and stuff like that, but I'm not spending $100 on a game that, you know, honestly is just trying to tide us over until Planet Zoo. Hopefully Planet Zoo doesn't quite get as crazy with the DLC and stuff like that, but we'll see. So you see, we're still getting a pretty decent looking forest. The one thing I wish they would have is, that was one of the things, the long grass terrain. That would be absolutely amazing here. Or I wish there was like kind of a bush terrain where it just kind of gave, or like a leaf terrain, just so it kind of gave it more of a forest floor. Because, you know, right now it kind of looks like a forest, but still just having that plain green grass doesn't quite look all that great. And so that's the entrance. At some point, we might actually do something with it. But what we ended up doing is we decided that we're going to make this nice little building. So as you walk in, once again, it's going to be kind of like a nature preserve. So, you know, we wanted this idea where it's like you walk in and then you just kind of enter this kind of almost like nature's building or like someone's house or something like that. Unfortunately, we're kind of limited. It also is weird that I can only do one at a time to move them in. But we're kind of limited in some of the textures and terrain and building things we could actually do, which is kind of annoying. And then trying to get, you know, oh yeah, wait, when we're we can actually do steps when we're on the when we're on the grid, which is kind of hilarious and still an issue with Planet Zoo, which I think is just kind of funky and weird, but whatever. So yeah, basically here we're gonna add our building. We want to get rid of the guardrail just to kind of make it a little bit more of a I think a larger guardrail just to look a little more impressive. I mean, we could have done it on the side ones too, but I think that's just too annoying. I'm just trying to add a little bit here just to make the buildings look a little more realistic, you know, get some windows and stuff like that. And you know, basically it's always what I'm trying to do is just, you know, and I think one of the things I discovered with Planet Coaster, and it works with Planet Zoo too, is it's like the more things you add to the building, the more realistic it looks. Like, go look at your house or your neighbor's house and stuff like that. And there's like textures and stuff like that, you know, especially here in Texas, there's a lot of buildings where it's like brick maybe for like the first, like the lower kind of like level or floor, or maybe the foundation's kind of like a brick foundation. And then you have like either a wood or a siding, probably wood siding, honestly, as kind of like the upper half of it. So it's like buildings are not generally just like the, you know, one kind of texture. And so we kind of did the same thing here. I wanted the glass because once again, it's kind of like one of those picturesque kind of environments that you walk into. Now, it's a little weird here. We had to do like the underground doorway just to make it look right. And we decided to go back in and add some more windows once again, just to make it a little more impressive here. And then kind of struggled here with what I wanted to do with the roof. This wasn't my first attempt at it. I just hated my first building I ended up doing. This building I think I liked a little bit better. We kind of have these curved pieces. Like there was very little we could actually do with, oh yeah, and then that one curve thing is actually that shape. Is it really that one shape like that? Well, it doesn't matter because we hide it here in a little bit, but yeah, it's kind of annoying. Also, too, you'll notice those side pieces overhang, and I have no idea why they overhang like that. So, not really much else we could do, but just kind of live with it, because for whatever reason, they're just a little annoying like that. And then we do that, and we decide, nah, let's put it actually in a little more, and then we just copy paste it, yeah. And I mean, it's a very kind of like small looking building, but it's not that big of a deal. And then we added in some wood flooring here, just because it's like, I feel it's weird just to have the grass floor, and I really, really, really wish like they had different ground textures. Like, and I guess we could do concrete. I mean, that is one of the ones they added in, but like, I just don't think concrete would have looked as well. So, you know, in a wood building like this, we're going for the whole nature preserve. So once again, we just kind of did the wood flooring here, and then we just lowered it a little bit. I hate how you can see the pathway through it, but whatever, we kind of lived with it. And so once again, now it's our attempt just to kind of make the building look a little better. Now, one thing I should note, I don't know if this entire series is going to be how should you say this, at like 500 speed. Like, we're probably gonna end up doing some of this stuff live. I just don't think I want to do it all like this, because here's the problem. To do a series like this takes like, what is this? I think each one of these were about a 40-minute recording, and so 40-minute recording, so that's like an hour and a half of recording for like a 20-minute episode. You know, it's kind of inefficient for me, especially when there's other series I could do that are a little quicker. So most likely we will end up kind of mixing this up a little bit when it's like, hey, let's do a bunch with the nature and stuff like that. Then we'll probably end up doing the time-lapse kind of stuff. That's the term I was looking for. But when oh, you know, I hope we did something around those windows, because those windows look kind of, it's a little weird how the windows merge with the wood. I think I want some framing around there. I might go back and add some of that in later here. But anyways, I think we're going to kind of avoid the time lapse. By the way, I hate the bushes in this game. Absolutely hate the bushes. Please give me the Planet Zoo bushes back, because they're so much better. They're just like either like super bright and like huge flowers, or just these like giant like empty bushes. It's just like, can I have something a little more subtle, please? Like, is that possible? And I didn't really know what I wanted to do in here. Honestly, it'd be great to kind of have some Planet Zoo kind of information kind of stuff, you know? Probably could have just done a bunch of signs and whatnot as well, but yeah, so like, I'm sure the rides and stuff like that, we will probably not do time lapse, and honestly probably somewhat intermixed even during an episode. Like, we might do like half of an episode time lapse, half an episode live. I say live, it's not really going to be live, but you know, kind of be back and forth. I think just as we kind of really kind of figure out how we're going to make this series work. I know for some people, like my wife as a huge example, like sometimes when I've watched people do these things in time lapse, she gets sick watching it. She's just like, I can't watch the time lapse. And so that's why I'm gonna, you know, somewhat avoid the time lapse, you know, just because, you know, I know some people will be a little nauseous watching the camera just go boom, 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 boom. So, you know, we'll mix it up, and we'll kind of figure out our flow from there. So I kind of thought here, it's like, man, we'll do some barrels and stuff like that. This is kind of like a nice little storage area. Then I found the rope bridge, and I'm like, you know what, screw it. We'll just do like a rope bridge over here just for, yeah, for the most part, we're not going to decorate interiors of buildings, and they really don't give you a lot of stuff for interiors of building. Like, Planet Coaster is very much a game about, like, you put the buildings up just as kind of a visual for the outside. You don't necessarily want people going through the buildings, because that's where it's kind of like, well, I mean, there's a couple things you can do, but not a whole lot. And here I was really just trying to figure out what I wanted to do here. I liked the pillars. I liked how those looked. Eventually, we ended up changing this rope bridge so we didn't get the edge here, because honestly, it didn't really look right, especially with that sticking through. I was like, you know what, screw this. Let's just get rid of this, and let's just do a regular rope bridge, and we can kind of put a fence there and just kind of merge it that way. And I don't know why these pillars light up. I mean, I guess they're like lights on top. It never described it as a light pillar anywhere, but whatever. So we do, you know, just a little bit of ladders there, so it's kind of like, hey, this is how you climb the rope bridge. What's the point of the rope bridge? I don't know. It's visual, man. It's just there to look cool, okay? Maybe I should put some computers up there or something, and it could be like check-in. Yeah, actually, it's not a terrible idea now that I think about it. Because, you know, we could do some computers and it's like, hey, you're actually paying with the check-in and stuff like that. Maybe even a desk and stuff like that. We wanted to go very like desky, or sorry, very rustic, very kind of like wood, kind of like nature environment. Almost like this was someone's house, you know, but whose house is going to actually have a rope bridge in the middle of it and a bunch of boxes? Someone who has a really cool house, that too, okay? Whatever. So got to get the chandeliers right. I still don't think they're 100% straight, but once again, you know, we're going to be as, you know, perfect as possible, but to a certain extent. So yeah, then we kind of have this idea because we had this just like ugly roof here. So I was like, all right, I need to find something just to kind of fill it up. And I was like, all right, yeah, let's try the roses. And I was like, I don't know if I really like those roses. They're just a little too like aggressive. Like I just wanted something a little more subtle. So I was like, what about these? And I was like, golly, those are freaking gigantic. Let's go back to what we were doing. I think maybe I lowered the, yeah, maybe. It's a little too much, but it's okay. Like maybe I should have done a taller roof behind it. That actually might look better now that I think about it. And then I kind of wanted a fountain. So you walk in and you just get this nice little fountain, just kind of like, you know, just shooting some water out. So, and I was like, oh, these are fountain. Wait, these look terrible. So instead, let's just put a plant on top because that's going to look so much better, you know. Trying to figure out what I want to do. We could do some more stuff to make this a little more of the over-the-top fountain, but I'm like, And then once again, I wanted this to be like you're entering a forest, so I needed to add quite a few more trees, as you can see, because it was kind of plain. And then it's like just the ground here is just so blah, which is why just being able to like put leaves on the ground or something like that would be great. I mean, I know there's some of those vines like I used on the roof, but it's just like, am I really going to put 10,000 of them? So I was like, all right, we'll just do some of this. Just throw a couple bushes here. Just make it somewhat realistic and make it look kind of as good as possible. And then we'll throw some rocks there as well. So this is going to be pretty much the first episode here. We didn't really accomplish anything with the rides, but next episode, I think we're actually going to get to our first roller coaster. So that should be pretty exciting. What else do we end up doing here? Oh yeah, we just add in a couple more things on the roof just to make it look good. But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you guys are looking forward to this series. I'm excited to be playing Planet Coaster again. So if you did, drop a like, comment, let me know what you think. As always, hit the subscribe button, join the game, comment, and share your support. Yeah, the series is going to be going on at least till Planet Zoo comes out, maybe, if there's support for it. I mean, this is going to be one of those series that's going to be a lot of work. So if you guys want to see more of this, definitely let me know. Because if there's not a lot of support for this series, I don't know if I'm really going to want to spend the time, because I could probably do another series that would, you know, be less time. Not that I'm complaining, but yeah, I was just trying to find something that worked with it and just did not like it. Like nothing here really worked all that well. So yeah, that's the episode. So I'll see you guys later. Have a good day. Bye everyone.